An artist's workplace is a very important thing. It can be small or it can be large. As long as it reflects their unique perspective and experience, any place can be a perfect fit for an artist. But what about craft, education, drive? What makes up an artist's choices and journey? Can it be so easily quantified? Only the words from a true artist can reveal the answers to these questions. Join me as I question one such artist on how she feels about art, her journey, and her future. Join me as I delve headfirst into an artist's dream. When did you decide to become an artist?
I'd have to say sophomore year of high school. I was actually going to get myself into the Air Force Academy and become a flight surgeon. And then I kind of realized that I definitely have a more creative side, and I felt like it was something that I wanted to pursue. So I'd have to say back in high school, probably.
What does your artistic process look like?
Well, I don't know. I have several different types of processes I go through. Because for me, I first started in kind of like a fine arts mode. So I do a lot of painting and a lot of drawing, which kind of first just began with me, sketching things out and, getting the proportions right. But now, as you can see, I kind of work in a more physical manner. I'm majoring in industrial design. So for me, I guess it now looks like a lot of prototyping, a lot of visual and physical thinking. So I guess for me, it still starts out with sketches, I'd say. But then a large part of me just has this urge to get started on something physical and work with physical objects and materials. So
What project are you currently working on?
So right now I'm working on a project for my Spaceform Process class, which is kind of a beginner's industrial design class essentially for freshmen. So what we have to do here is we had to choose an object or an activity. So for me, I chose cooking because it's something I love doing, and we have to make it easier or harder with a wearable apparatus essentially. So for me, I have chosen to make cooking harder, and I have designed a device that goes over your arm, and you slip your arm in and you loop this over your thumb, and you have to use the torso movement instead of your arm movement because in my research I found that arm movements is, something, it's so basic, yet people really do take it for granted, and they don't realize that extending your arm is something that makes so many activities way easier. So this is kind of my literal interpretation of how to restrict that movement.
What?
Oh, there you go. Oh.
Thank you for the commentary.
Oh, watch out.
I think I need more than that.
Well, then you can always do more. Just, you don't want to start out with too much.
I'm gonna come back to that one. Revisit that one at a later date.
Oh, Lord.
What is your favorite medium?
Oh, that's such a tough question. I don't know. I think it definitely, when I started out in art, my favorite medium was watercolor. That's what initially got me really excited about art, and really it just kind of started this fire inside of me that made me want to explore the medium more, and the whole art practice as a whole. Right now, I'd have to say I'm really into working with plaster. It's a really rigorous process, but I find it to be very rewarding. So I'm super excited to go into my major concentration this fall, because I'll be able to work with kind of those mediums that I find really interesting. So,
What are your future plans as an artist?
I'd say right now, my future plans are to graduate with my industrial design degree. And then from there, I really am looking at how I can get involved in the sustainable design field. So I'm minoring in sustainability. It's something that is super important to me. So just kind of looking to impact the sustainable environment, and just start designing for those companies that are really starting to make changes.
What advice do you have for any aspiring artists?
I'd say you just have to go for it. You have to be bold. You have to tell yourself that you are capable and you are worth taking the time to learn your craft, because once you do, artists are so important, especially in today's culture, in today's world. They're so important, and I think people nowadays, I know a lot of people in my classes, that they doubt themselves daily. They doubt whether or not they're good enough, and you have to tell yourself that you can do it and you can make a change in the world. That's probably my biggest piece of advice.